You're listening to the Happiest Lives podcast with Jill Lillard, and this is a bonus episode.
Welcome to the Happiest Lives podcast, where you'll learn to think better, feel better, and become the woman God says you already are. Here's your host, Jill Lillard.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Happiest Lives podcast. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I really didn't plan for this, and honestly, I'm kind of excited about it. Normally, I'm in the middle of a series and we're unpacking one idea over 4 weeks. But this month had a 5th week, and instead of jumping into something new, I just want to let you into my quiet time. I want to share what the Lord has been teaching me, not because I've figured it out, but because I'm in the middle of it. So normally I record these episodes a couple of months ahead of time. That's the series you just listened to that was recorded a few months ago. The series that's starting next week, that was also recorded in advance. But this one is different. I am recording it this morning, just a few days ago, after spending time in my Bible, in my journal, because I wanted to share it while it was still fresh. So I've been reading through 2 Corinthians, and this morning I came to chapter 8. At first glance, it's a passage about generosity, but as I kept reading, I realized the Lord was using it to speak into something completely different that He's been doing in my own heart. So today I just want to tell you about that. I feel like I'm in one of those seasons where a lot of things are changing all at once. Now, I didn't plan for them to change, and I didn't necessarily want them to change, but that is just what life does. As many of you know, it's been about a year now that Rich and I left the church that I had been part of for 45 years. A few years ago, my son got married, and this year he and Olivia moved away. My daughter is starting college this year. I feel like there's been shifts in lifelong friendships. My routines feel different. And if I'm honest, I don't think I realized how much of my identity was wrapped up in these seasons until they started changing. So I don't want to go backward. I don't wish my kids were little again. I don't wish that I was 25. But I have noticed something in myself. I miss what's familiar. I miss knowing exactly where I fit. I miss the comfort of a season I understood. And somewhere along the way, I realized I wasn't just grieving events, I was grieving an entire season of life. A few days ago, I was taking the dog outside to go on a walk, and this boy rode past my house on his bike. I've never seen him before. He looked over, smiled, waved, and kept riding. And for some reason, I just felt this ache in my chest. I remember thinking, why am I so emotional? He's just a kid riding a bike. It took me a while to understand what I was actually grieving. Now, of course, I wasn't grieving him. I think I was grieving every bike ride after school, every summer evening, my own childhood, then raising my own kids, the noise, the schedules, the life that was. It all hit me in one ordinary moment. And I remember thinking, life just keeps moving. This weekend, I'm home by myself. My husband is out of town. My daughter is traveling to Louisville to see my son with her cousin Claire. And I have the weekend by myself. And so it was kind of mixed feeling. You know, I always look forward to that when everyone was younger, if I ever got time home alone. And I was looking forward to this time. I felt like the Lord had something for me. I had things I wanted to work on for my business as well. And there was also some mixed sadness, some grief of just being by myself and probably not talking much to anyone throughout the weekend. So I was journaling this morning and something kind of surprised me. I wrote, I don't want this season of life I'm in right now to become a parking spot, because I don't. I don't want to rush through it, but I don't want to get stuck here either. I want God to use it. I want Him to prepare me for whatever He's doing next. So after I finished journaling, I opened my Bible to 2 Corinthians 8, where I've been reading. And it begins talking about generosity, That's what that chapter is kind of known for. Paul is talking to the Corinthians about giving financially to believers in Jerusalem. He tells them about these churches in Macedonia that were going through really difficult circumstances. They were experiencing severe trials. They were poor, and yet somehow they were incredibly generous. I've read this passage before, and if I'm honest, I've usually thought, okay, this is about giving. But this time, one verse stopped me. Paul says, they gave themselves first to the Lord. As I read that, I realized Paul wasn't starting with money. He was starting with surrender. The generosity came after. The money was simply evidence that something deeper had already happened in their hearts. And I started wondering, what does it look like in this season to give myself to the Lord first? Not just my money, but myself. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I think I'm surrendered until the Lord starts touching the things that I really want to hold on to. So for me, that passage wasn't just about finances. It was about seasons and familiarity. It's been knowing where I fit. It's been relationships, about wanting life to feel the way it used to feel. And I don't think I've been gripping those things because they're bad. I've been gripping them because they were good. And that's what made the passage so personal. It made me realize that open hands aren't just about generosity, they're about trust. As I kept reading, I noticed something else. Paul never praises the Macedonians for how much they gave. He praises the grace of God at work in them. That struck me as well, because I think a lot of us read that chapter and think, I should probably be more generous. But that's not Paul's point. His point is that grace changes a person. When God gets a hold of your heart, it changes the way you hold everything else. Your money, your time, your plans, your relationships, your expectations, your future. And that's where I found myself. Because as I've been journaling, I realized I keep coming back to the tension. I don't want to stay where I was, but I don't quite know where I'm going. I'm sure that you have been there as well. Maybe you walked your daughter down the aisle. Maybe you've retired. Maybe your marriage changed. Maybe you lost someone you loved, or God closed a door you never wanted to close. Maybe you're just waking up and realizing my life looks different than it used to. I know that's where I've been. And if I'm honest, I think I've been asking the wrong question. I've been asking, Lord, what's next? But I wonder if he's been asking me something different. Jill, will you give yourself to me first? Before you know what's next, before you know what this season becomes, before you know who your new friends are, before you know what your role is, will you trust me? I realized surrender almost always comes before you have clarity. I wish it worked the other way around. I wish God handed us the 5-year plan. I wish he showed us exactly what he was doing. But so often he simply says, give yourself to me first. And then he leads us one step at a time. I wonder, have you ever noticed that some of the biggest transitions in life can't be solved? You don't fix becoming an empty nester. You don't fix getting older. You don't fix saying goodbye to a season you genuinely loved. You move through it. You grieve it. You thank God for it. And then little by little, you open your hands. It was a meaningful season, a season that you loved, a season that was hard at times. But you release the grip because you trust the one who's leading you into whatever comes next. So here's what I am praying today. Lord, show me what I'm gripping. We don't have to release everything in our life. Some things we need to hold on to. We need to hold on to truth, our faith, our convictions, the people God has entrusted to us. Paul isn't saying don't care. He's saying give yourself first to the Lord. There's a difference. Because when I've given myself to him first, I can hold everything else differently. I can love deeply without believing I have to control the outcome. I can grieve a season without trying to go back and recreate it. I can be excited about what's ahead without rushing through where I am. I can trust that if God is asking me to release something, he's not asking me to release it into nothing. He's asking me to release it into his hands. And I don't know exactly what this season looks like. I wish I did. Part of me wants the plan. Part of me wants to know where all of this is going, but I don't. And maybe that's okay, because I think this season is asking something different of me. Not to have the answers, not to figure out the next 10 years, just to keep giving myself to the Lord. One day at a time, one decision at a time, one open hand at a time. Maybe that's where you find yourself today too. Maybe your open hands have nothing to do with money. Maybe they're about a relationship, a friendship, a marriage, a child, a dream, your health, a career, a season that you didn't want to end. Or maybe it's simply the life you thought you'd have by now. Whatever it is, my encouragement to both of us is the same. Don't rush the season. Don't get stuck in it either. Let God do what He wants to do in you. Because I have a feeling He's preparing us for something we can't see yet. Not by giving us all the answers, but by shaping the kind of people we're becoming. And honestly, I think that's what He's been doing in me the last several months. Without a roadmap, He is teaching me to trust Him with open hands. Thank you guys for letting me share a little bit more personally today. Maybe I'll try to do this more often when I have an extra week of the month. But this one felt important to me. It felt like something I wanted to share while it was still fresh. I'd love to hear from you. If this resonated with you, send me a message, leave a review. Let me know what season you're in and what the Lord has been teaching you lately. I always love hearing your stories. Thanks for spending time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next week when we start a brand new series on relationships and getting along and working through conflict. It is entitled, Why You Keep Having the Same Fight. I hope to see you there. If you want to take this work and apply it, go to myhappyvault.com. That's where I share free resources and ways to stay connected. I'll talk to you next time.